So in elemental magic, you have a basic trinity of the way elemental forces can interact with each other. Two different elemental forces can either benignly support, so be neutral with each other. They can fuel each other, or they can suppress each other. So the neutrality is actually born out of the binary of feeding and suppression. Now, this is really interesting because this relates to us a lot and the way we interact with each other. And as much as like I feel like I'm being redundant in saying this, but when you hear it, you'll understand. When you interact with another person, you're not just interacting with their energy. Your elemental forces are interacting with their elemental forces. We are literally a giant, bubbling, whirling pool of energy, as well as another person. And the energy in us might actually be attuned to one element more than the other. And that's why, you see systems like tarot cards that would indicate the suits. So the 4 basic elements of earth, air, fire, and water. So you could be like a queen of earth, or a queen of fire, or a queen of air, queen of water. And so it's important to understand that the first interaction, the lowest base of interaction, is suppression of each other. And so really learning the understanding between the connection between water and fire is so key towards elemental magic, and understanding the elemental forces in you, and which relate to the elemental forces in others. So how does fire and water interact? Well, so water is a nurturing element. It is an element that absorbs, dissolves, takes into itself. It literally is the element of empathy. Fire would be the more psychopathic element, that it is a transforming element. Everything it touches, it transforms. Water doesn't want to transform. It wants to stay still and absorb and understand. And fire does not want to stay still, observe, or understand. So when you get water and fire together, fire is suppressed and it feels incredibly resentful for its suppression, and water is transformed and feels very resentful of its transformation. They transfer to each other their properties. And so what happens when water is transformed? It makes air. It transforms into water vapor. And so air elementals are the end result of the transformation of water. Now, when fire is suppressed, what is allowed to bloom when fire is suppressed? Earth. Because earth is the food of fire. Fire really needs something to consume. While air is benign and treats a fire well, fire needs a wick. It needs wood. It needs green and growing things. It needs earth to burn. And so without a fuel source, fire would not exist. So what happens when fire is suppressed? Earth is allowed to blossom. So air, in the dynamic between water and fire, air is the transformation of the empathetic parts of the self, which rise and become earth elementals. And then the fire is suppressed to allow earth elementals, which is wisdom of the elemental kingdom, to transpire. So every one of us has had experiences with fire and water in relationships. We have experienced where maybe our fire was stronger than another person's water, and we forced them into transformation. And vice versa. Somebody's fire was stronger than our water and caused our water to evaporate, and we became more air-like. And then also they became more wise in seeing our transformation. These dynamics are not just psychological, and they're not just emotional. They are elemental. We are so governed and guided by the elemental forces in our life, dancing in and throughout us. Now, at every stage and every step of this journey, we are creating rituals, different types of music that we listen to, different things that we say, incantations, different ways that we move our body, different ways in which we evoke energies within us to do this dance between fire and water in the world around us and also within us. So I think it's important to remember that while, yes, you can look at all of the nitty-gritty of why people do things, but if you take it down to the basic elements, earth, air, fire, and water, we are all just basically in a dance in the cosmos. Just like Mother Earth is, just like the whole universe is. We are the dance of atoms, energies, electrons, all in symphony. The key is, what do you want your symphony to be? Where are you in the dance? Are you aware that you're dancing? And the more you become aware, the more you can actually be an active participant in your own evolution.